Namaste, Vanakkam, Swagatam, and welcome to our next episode of Tell Me Appa. We are in season 2 and we are learning a lot of stories and a lot about the different gods and goddesses, and we have more to come. So, in our 26th episode, we are going to see some tales of Ayyappa Swami, which is not so common and many people don't know who he is. And I think he's more famous in the south. But whatever it is, we are part of this country, we are part of this earth, so we have to know everything, right? Like it doesn't, like we shouldn't take it as, we are in this religion, we are in this country, only then we should know it. It's not that. You can learn anything about any religion, you have the right to learn it because you are born as a human being. And as a human being, we have the right to think, to say, and to do. So we will remember that and try to be an integrated human being, as Ammaji says. And we will learn some. And it was nice that last week we had the Hanuman episode, and it happened to be our silver jubilee celebration of Tell Me Appa. And at that time, it didn't strike me, but afterwards I recognized that it was the silver jubilee. We had completed 25 episodes, and we have more to come. Hope we'll reach golden jubilee and many more to come and reach the highest heights. So welcome again, and now over to Dr. Sir, and he will lead us into this journey. And if you can see, we have a nice background today. It's a bit of a trouble here and there because of the lighting and all that, because it shouldn't be bad and we should look nice. So if you see, we have the stairs behind us. We might not have as many stairs as there are in Ayyappa's place, but we have a few just to make it look like we are bringing in that energy and invoking his energy, which is very essential in these times.
Namaste, Swagatam, Vanakkam. This episode of Tell Me Appa is focusing on the wonderful stories of Lord Ayyappa. Ayyappa Swami is a very specialized deity of South India, and in his temple he has 18 steps. And here in the ashram, we have 18 steps when you go up this flight of steps. So we always joke that we have the Padinettu Padi, as they call it, the 18 steps. Ayyappa Swami is a very peculiar energy that we find in Kerala, God's own country down in the south of India. And it is a temple that is on top of a hill called Sabarimala. Sabarimalai is the temple, Sabarimala. And this is one of the hills among 18 hills in that region. So again, the number 18 hills, and the temple to Lord Ayyappa at Sabarimala has 18 steps. And the songs that go to Ayyappa Swami, which are sung during this season, are songs that talk about this. Vannam Padi, then Irandam Padi, Moondram Padi, Padinettam Padi. They talk about these, each step as the bhakta, the devotee, climbs the stairs carrying what is called Irumudi. And it is a very spectacular occasion. And about 50 million people, 50 million, you heard me right, go on a pilgrimage to this temple shrine every year. 50 million. And it is a shrine primarily for the male devotees, and female devotees below the age of menstruation, before menarche and post-menopause, have been always allowed as per the custom and tradition. Recently, the Supreme Court, in one of its landmark judgments, permitted the women devotees of all age to go. It is still a big controversy, and though there is the rule of the law, the religious sentiments of the devotees must be taken into consideration. And it's a political statement, so I'm not going to come into that right now. We want to know more about Ayyappa Swami and the beautiful call that comes in this season. This season, which is going on now, it starts in December and goes till January, is a season where you will see a lot of people in orange, in blue, in black, and you will find them with a tulasi mala, and you will find that they are doing 41 days of penance, tapasya. The vratam, which is a penance, is taken for 41 days as a preparation of the devotee to go on this pilgrimage and visit the Ayyappa Swami, Sannidhi, the shrine of Ayyappa Swami. And earlier, this temple was in the middle of the forest. It is part of the Periyar Tiger Reserve. It's part of the Tiger Reserve, and so naturally a lot of tigers. So initially in the early days when the pilgrims used to go, it was a very tough pilgrimage. One of the reasons why only men were allowed was the thing, it was a very tough pilgrimage. You had to walk kilometer after kilometer in the dense forest. And there were numerous stories of people being attacked by the wild animals because human being was going into the forest. Nowadays you have highways and you have helipads and you have other things, so that piousness has gone down a lot. But still, I have from my childhood known of so many devotees who from year after year after year would do this penance of 41 days where they would wear the orange, blue, black colored dress. They would have to have a certain number of sacred bath per day. They had to face extreme hardship, sleep on the floor without any material comfort, life of a brahmachari, abstinence, vegetarian food, limit the food, vitahara, and quite an amazing penance for so many men who otherwise did not have the discipline in their life. And this Ayyappa Swami pilgrimage gave so many of them an opportunity to have a disciplined life. Ayyappa Swami is actually, the legend goes that Ayyappan was found as a young boy. So the king of the Pandala kingdom, the Pandala Raja and the Pandala Mahadevi, the queen, they were childless. They didn't have a child and they were praying to the divine, and that they find this young baby and they bring this baby home, adopt him, and that this baby then becomes known as Manikanta because around his throat he has a mani, he has a bell. Some people say it is a bell, some people say it is a jewel. So he's having a jewel around the neck, so he's called Manikanta, Manikandan is a common name we have. Ayyappa, the sacred father principle, and Ayyane is a principle that we worship for the divine as a fatherly principle. And Ayyappa Swami as a brahmachari is considered Shasta, and he is teaching, he is a great teacher. Shasta Saranam is a usual refrain you hear. Swamiye Saranam Ayyappa. This is the type of refrain you hear in this Margari season. And this baby is found and brought to the kingdom, and everybody is very happy because the childless king and queen now have a son. But then as he grows up, the king and queen have their own biological son also. So now there's a step, the actual son, he becomes the stepson, the adopted son. And this creates issues as they grow older because the queen is, by her minister, is sort of pushed. He's called a divan in this part of the country. The divan, who is the minister, pushes that your biological son should be the king, not Ayyappan, not Manikantan. And so they create a story where she says, I have this illness, and they have the royal doctor, the physician, come and say, the queen needs a specialized medicine, which is the milk of a tigress. So the female tiger who's feeding, lactating, you need to bring her milk to mix the medicine to help the queen become okay. Now, imagine finding a tigress, one who's lactating with babies and getting her milk. Impossible. And that is where Manikantan, Ayyappa Swami, says, I will do it. And he sets out to the forest. So people think he's going to die. They think he's not going to come back alive. But on the contrary, he comes back riding the tigress. Not just one tiger and tigress, but a whole herd. A herd of tigers are brought back. So the depiction of Ayyappa Swami with a bow and arrow riding a tiger, a tigress, is the iconic, legendary depiction of Ayyappa Swami. And then, of course, they get the lesson. But at that point, Ayyappa Swami says, I am not interested in the kingdom. My younger brother should rule. And he says, I will go and do penance at Shabarimala. And he shoots an arrow that goes and lands on that hill And there they build a temple for him, and he is seen in a squatting position with a band around his knees. This is again representing a tapasya position, and a position where the whole lower part of the pelvis is bound, a mula bandha position signifying the celibacy. This is why traditionally they didn't want the female devotees to be there, because there was a lot of importance placed on the celibate nature of the deity. This was the concept. Now let's get to a little behind the story. What is behind the story is that this son, Ayyappa Manikanda, who was found in the forest, he is actually born with a certain purpose, and that purpose is to destroy a female demoness called Mahishi. So you say, who is this Mahishi? She is the sister of Mahishasura, killed by goddess Durga. Okay, so goddess Durga was created to kill Mahishasura. His sister Mahishi, again also a female buffalo diviness is how the depiction is. She wants to take revenge for her brother's death at the hands of Durga. She again worships Brahma. The usual Brahma is the guy who comes and gives everybody the boots, and then others have to struggle to find an answer. And what happens is that this Mahishi, she says, I shouldn't be killed except by a son born to Shiva and Vishnu. Now she thinks she's very clever, because she says Shiva and Vishnu both are male god, male energy. She said they're never going to have a child, so I'll never be killed. But Indian gods are always very good lawyers. They're always finding the loopholes in all these prayers that the demons have put. And so the story comes that Shiva, Hara, and Vishnu, Hari, their energies come together, Hari, Hara, Putra. So you have Ayyappa Swami has one more name along with Manikanta, along with Shasta. He is called Harihara Sutta or Harihara Putra, the son of Hari and Hara, Vishnu and Shiva. Now you say, well, both are male. How did they have a son? This is because Lord Vishnu often takes on the form of Mohini, the enchantress. And Moha is infatuation, enchantment. Moha Maya, we are enchanted by the Maya, the illusionary world. So Vishnu takes on the form of Mohini on different occasions. One occasion is when they are churning the ocean. And the Devas and Asuras get the Amrita. So Mohini comes to make sure the Devas get the Amrita and not the demoness, cuts off the head of the demon, and so Rahu and Ketu are created. That is one story. Second story is Bhasmasura, who gets a boon from Shiva, saying if I place my hand on somebody's head, they should become Bhasma, they should become ashes, Vibhuti. And Shiva says, okay. And Bhasmasura says, I want to test it on you. So Shiva starts running, because Bhasmasura is running after him with his hand stretched out. And Shiva doesn't know what to do, because if he places his hand on Shiva, Shiva will become ashes, because that is Shiva's boon to Bhasmasura. And Shiva is running, so there is always the story, Varam Tandavan Talaila Kai Vekirathu. That is, somebody gives you a boon, you put your hand on their head. Somebody helps you, you do something against them. This is a phrase in Tamil. Varam Tandavan Talayil Kai Vaikpadu is the statement. So Shiva is running, Bhasmasura is running after him. Stop, I want to test out your boon. Shiva doesn't know what to do. He goes to Vaikunta and he meets Vishnu. He says, Vishnu, please save me. Vishnu says, no problem, you hide behind the bush. Vishnu changes into the form of Mohini, and when Bhasmasura comes, he gets enchanted by Mohini, because Mohini is the enchantress. Any male will fall in love with her and totally lose all sense, because all the hormones start to squirt in your body. The moment you become a hormonal wreck, your intelligence has gone into the dumps. It's gone into the trash container. It's as simple as that, recycle bin. So there's no sense. And he says, have you seen Shiva? She says, why are you worried about Shiva? I am here and I am so beautiful, and don't you love me? And he gets infatuated with Mohini. And Mohini, then there are different versions. One is she starts to dance and she says, shall we dance together? And whatever I do, you should do. So I move my right hand, you move your right hand, this type of thing. And at one point, she puts her hand on her head. Bhasmasura also puts his hand on his head and becomes ashes. Another version is that she tells him, you know why Shiva is running away from you? Because he has not given you the boon. He has tricked you. And he doesn't want you to know that you have been fooled by him. And if you put your hand on his head, you will come to know you are fooled. So Bhasmasura says, what do I do? She says, why don't you try it on yourself? Now I told you already, in the presence of a beautiful woman, the man has gone. There's no buddhi. Buddhi has gone out. All the blood has gone to some other anatomy, so the brain has no blood. And what happens is Bhasmasura puts his hand on his head. So ultimately, Vishnu in the form of Mohini tricks Bhasmasura into placing his hand on his head, becoming ashes. Now the story continues. Shiva comes out of hiding. He sees Vishnu in the form of Mohini and he forgets it's Vishnu. And so the union of Shiva with Vishnu in the form of Mohini produces the energy which is Ayyappa Swami, Harihara Sutta or Harihara Putra, who is created to destroy the demoness Mahishi. So everything has a connection. All the stories in Indian culture have connectivity and all of them are metaphors. The energy of Shaivism, Shiva, the energy of Vaishnavism, Vishnu, come together to produce the beautiful energy of Ayyappa Swami. And this is why the Ayyappa Swami temple, people from all caste, all religion, all strata of society, they go to that temple. There is no division seen at all. All are one. All are treated equal. That is the beauty of the cult of Ayyappa. It's a cult of Ayyappa. So this Ayyappa Swami, as Manikandan, when he goes to the forest to get the tiger's milk, he is met by Mahishi. He destroys the demoness and fulfills his role for which he was born. He was incarnated to destroy Mahishi, and that is why he was created by the union of Shiva and Vishnu energies. Harihara Putra, Harihara Sudha. And this can be understood as a metaphor that the Shaivite and Vaishnavite clans in South India have always been fighting. Huge battles between the Shiva worshippers and the Vishnu worshippers. So if the king liked the Shiva worshippers, the Vishnu worshippers would be persecuted. If he liked the Vishnu, Shiva worshippers were persecuted. This was a common thing happening again and again. And that is where then finally they created Ayyappa Swami so that both the Shiva worshippers and the Vishnu worshippers could come together and worship at the same place without any divide, without any dichotomy, without any fight. And this is why Ayyappa Swami signifies the union of two different forms of energy, two different types of devotees coming together in one. And that he is the master teacher, Shasta. This Ayyappa Swami is also equated with another form of deity found in rural Tamil Nadu, which is the Ayyanar. So Ayyappan and Ayyanar are often equated, and this is a specialized deity found on the outskirts of the village. And that Ayyappan, Ayyanar Swami is protecting that village. For example, Yoganjali Natyalayam, it used to be at the boundary of Pondicherry once upon a time. Now it's the center of Pondicherry. And we have what is called Vellam Thangi Ayyanarappan Koil. It is an Ayyanarappan temple which is said to have stopped the Vellam, the flood. The outskirts of the village were getting flooded, and this temple with its energy stops the flood, saves the village. You have these type of stories, and Ayyappan and Ayyanarappan often are said to be a similar energy. This is one of the another aspects of the Tamil culture. And there have been so many stories and legends associated with this. In fact, when Ayyappa Swami Manikandan is a small boy, he is with his guru in the Gurukula. And the Guru at the end, he says, as Guru Dakshana, I know you have amazing abilities, Manikandan. My son, the Guru's son, cannot speak and cannot hear, deaf and dumb. He says, will you please bless him? And it is said Manikandan at that time as a young boy, as a Guru Dakshina for his own Guru, he enables through his blessing the Guru's son to start to speak and hear once again. Miracles are associated with this temple, and so many people have expressed the miracles in their life because of Ayyappa Swami at Shabarimala. And amazing energy. And here in Pondicherry in Tamil Nadu, during this season, the Margazhi season, people start doing the puja and all. And what happened is, initially all the devotees would get together and sing bhajans. And Goshti Ganam, they would sing bhajans. Swamiye Saranam Ayyappa Saranam. And it would go on very beautiful. Then what happened is they brought in the microphone and they brought in the loudspeaker. And they started playing it. So you will have 10 groups from the same village going, and each will be playing a different song, and it started to become cacophony. And I tell you, the yoga classes in the morning at the ashram during this season are filled with all the noise coming out of this multiple loudspeakers at the same time. We debase that whole tradition. But I wanted to also bring in here this concept that towards the end, there is during the Makara Sankranti. Makara Sankranti is Pongal in Tamil Nadu. It is Makara Sankranti. In it is when the sun is changing its direction. And this Makara Sankranti is the time when there is said to be a Jyoti that appears around the mountain of Sabarimala. And it is called Makara Jyoti. Now, because in Tamil we don't have ka, kaka, gaga, it is called Magara Jyoti. But actually it is Makara Jyoti, which is on the Makara Sankranti day. So the pilgrimage continues till that. After that Jyoti, that light has been witnessed by the bhaktas, by the devotees, the shrine is then closed for a certain period of time. The Sabarimala has had its share of controversies, and 1950, the temple was actually burnt down, and the statue, the original stone statue, said to have been created by Parasurama. It is said that the temple of Sabarimala for Ayyappa was created by Parasurama actually. That is the legend. And in 1950, some antisocial elements, of which there are a lot in this part of the world, they went and burned down that shrine, and it had to be rebuilt. And at that time, the stone statue which was damaged was replaced by a Pancha Mahabhuta statue of the 5 metals that are there: gold, silver, bronze, etc. Of course, then our neoliberal, pseudo-secular people like to attack anything that is Hindu. So Diwali gets attacked. Oh, we should have a green Diwali, we should have a green Pongal, we should have a green this, we should have a green that. And then every other celebration by anybody else, no, it is their belief. But when it comes to Hindu, attack them. And in South India, the Hindu Religious Institutions Act by governments like Tamil Nadu and all, they have totally destroyed the places of worship in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. And as part of this, there was this movement that everybody should go to Sabarimala. And it was very interesting. The final judgment which came in the Supreme Court, the judgment said no, women should be allowed, as part and parcel of the modern concept of everybody should be allowed to do anything they want. The only judge who said no, this is wrong, was the woman judge in that. Of all the judges, the woman judge, she said no, we should respect the religious sentiment. And I haven't commented on this before, but you know what? So many of the people I knew as I grew up used to go on this pilgrimage, and they will do all the vows, 41 days, and then they'll go there. But more than them, the person who actually was doing the vows more was the woman of the house. And I have seen the immense bhakti the women had during that 41 days of doing the puja. And in that, attained more benefit than the men who actually went on the pilgrimage. The women did not have to go to the shrine. By that 41 days of puja, they achieved so much of benefit that the modern neoliberal pseudo-secular people don't understand. They think, no, you should open the door and people should go there. It's after all just a building. See, it is like in Tanjore, the big Shiva shrine in Tanjore. The Archaeological Survey of India took it over and they have a board. It says, this monument, imagine calling a living temple where rituals are going on a monument. It is the place of worship vibrating with the devotion of the devotees. And I think in modern times we have forgotten that things should be kept sacred. There are things that are sacred. And the women got so much of benefit from it. Those women, if any one of those women wanted to go to Sabarimala, I would support them 100% because that devotion was so great. But who are the people who actually went to Sabarimala? The women who want to just show that, yes, I also did it. See, I went where you couldn't go, he, I won, look at you. One-upmanship, total egotistic attitude. And this is what we have to be very careful. Equanimity is a must. Equality is a must. Everybody should be treated equal. But it doesn't mean you trample on certain values, on certain religious beliefs that are there. Just for your ego to have a selfie with Ayyappa Swami. I think we have to be very careful about this. I have never talked about this publicly before, but when it comes to that shrine, I have seen the immense benefit. I have not been there, but I have seen the immense benefit the bhakta, the devotee has had. I have seen the immense benefit the family has had by that whole pilgrimage. And we must respect the benefit our culture gives families and the individuals through such occasions. Ayyappa Swami is truly someone who brings people together, not a divider. And the greatest amount of, oneness you can see in the great singer Yesudas, whose beautiful song, Harivarasanam Vishwamohanam Harihadishwaram Aradhya Padukam
Harivimardanam
Nityanartanam Hariharatmajam Devamashvaye Saranam Ayyappa Swami Saranam Ayyappa Saranam Ayyappa Swami Saranam Ayyappa Saranam Ayyappa Swami Saranam Ayyappa Saranam Ayyappa Swami Saranam Ayyappa. This song of K.J. Yesudas, one of the greatest singers of India, he is a Christian. He has so much of bhakti for Ayyappa Swami that his song, the song sung by him, is played every day at night as the deity is put to sleep for the night. Such a great integrative place Sabarimala is. The integration of Shaivite and Vaishnavite. In fact, Swamiji used to say, most probably Ayyappa may have also been the Jain and Buddhist, that undercurrent which came into Hinduism at that time. That there was an undercurrent of Jainism and Buddhism that was part of the Ayyappa Swami. When you think about the emphasis on celibacy, the strict rules that you have to follow, all of that, it is more Jain and Buddhist than Hindu actually. And it makes quite a bit of sense, though it is a very far-fetched theory. It is an interesting aspect to think about. I think we have talked a lot today. And I remember, when all of you danced, Kanimari Miss had choreographed that beautiful song as a folk dance.
Folk dance.
What was that one?
Anand was...
he was Ayyappa Swami and Christoph was the tiger. Christoph was the tiger crawling across the stage with Anand Raj as Ayyappa Swami sitting on top as a young boy. What was that song?
Kattu kattu palli kattu Sabarimala kannu Irumudi kattu Irumudi kattu Sabarimala kannu.
It's a beautiful one. I remember that folk dance that all of you have done at Yoganjali. A lot of beautiful memories with Ayyappa Swami.
Even did Harivarasanam where Anand Raj was the sleeping Ayyappa, like I think they depicted Ayyappa as lying down. So he did that part also.
Fine. So I think I'll stop there today. Lot of stories, a lot of controversial statements I may have been making, but Ayyappa Swami is a very important part of this part of the world, and people should know about this culture. We need to respect the culture. In modern times, we have come into a place where we think showing disrespect to one's culture is being educated. I think being educated is respecting culture. The educated person will respect the culture, not disrespect the culture. The educated person will respect others, not disrespect others. The educated person should understand there are multiple perspectives, not only our perspective. That is the teaching Ayyappa Swami gives us all.
So we had a nice concluding few sentences by you, and you really brought us into, and again you reminded us that you see everything is connected, isn't it? Like we'll think, okay, like people might know, okay, Ayyappa Swami was came from the combination of Shiva and Vishnu, but we didn't know that the story of Bhasmasura like enabled it. Like, okay, maybe people have different perspectives on it, and maybe they have different beliefs, but whatever it is, everything is to be connected, and it was connected, and it should be connected always. So that's a very important point that we should be reminded often, and it's nice that this episode of Tell Me Appa could remind all of us about this. And I personally, well, basically, we all know a few stories, don't we? Like, how can't we not know? Especially we being students of Yoganjali Natyalayam and performing so many dance dramas and even dances in the annual day. Like even the dances, we have a sanchari for that. I think the unique feature of Yoganjali Natyalayam that every Bhavanani composition has a sanchari, and if not one, at least two or three, depending on what the composition, the lines, what they try to bring out in us. So, and also we bring in the yoga and dance together and the singing. So that's another unique feature of Yoganjali Natyalayam, which is very special, and in every child's life who's part of Yoganat, that I'm very sure that this really has the position in us that we can never forget. And these stories, and it's nice that we could learn a little more, maybe deeper. Like I wouldn't have known everything that you said, but I would have known a basic rough sketch of what we did through our sancharis and through maybe some dramas, little stories where we would have mentioned about Ayyappa Swami. So thank you, and join us next week. We have the next episode coming up, and we'll see. We have Diwali coming up, so advance happy Diwali to all of you, and wishing you all a safe Diwali. And this time it might be limited, but we are very much connected through this box. I love to call it the box because we have to often remind ourselves that this is not the world. Because we just start revolving around this small box, and that's not the only world that we are living in, or it's not the only world that we have with us. So thank you, and join us in all the sessions, and Dr. Sirs announced the special 999 Satsanga course. So I'm very much interested in it every Thursday, and it's very special as Thursday brings the energy of the Guru, which is very important. And being every student who's part of Ananda Ashram ICYER, you know how much the satsangs are to all of us, and especially with Swamiji when he went on, even during the night, and with Ammaji,
I'm going to limit it to 90 minutes.
Yeah, okay. That's good to know, isn't it? Because you all might be wondering, oh my God, what's going to go on all night? So nothing to be scared of.
Especially because we have people from all over the world, which is why I've also shifted it from 4:30 to 5:30, because many people now the clocks have moved with daylight saving and other things. So if we kept it at 4:30, for many people it's too early, or basically in the middle of the night. So we shifted it to 5:30 to 7 to facilitate the attendance of people from different parts of the world, because that is what the Vishwa Yoga Parivar, our global yoga family, is all about.
So yeah, on considering the time zones, and also we have the Twinkling Thursdays also, so like we have to consider everything here. But we are planning to keep up all these sessions, online, the Twinkling Thursdays, the Scintillating Saturdays, Tell Me Appa, and we are also having the Wonderful Wednesdays and the courses and the step by step going on. So, encouraging all of you, join us and let's keep doing something good, because if you do something good, we might be, God might reduce some punishment for us because we are not perfect. None of us are perfect. So thank you and see you next week in the next episode of Tell Me Appa. Keep supporting us and stay safe and stay sound and love you all.